Hey everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little different from my usual run-of-the-mill stuff. I'm starting a new series called RX Reviews on the channel where I'll be playing through games that I enjoy and then giving my impressions on them. This is my first review, so bear with me. It might not be the best and a little rough around the edges, but we're going to be reviewing quite possibly one of the greatest Star Wars games ever made. We're going to be taking a look at the cult classic Star Wars Republic Commando. This was a blind playthrough as I've only ever played the multiplayer mode and the footage is captured from the PC version of the game. So with all that being said, let's get into the review.
For you are a commando, an elite unit, something truly special.
Star Wars Republic Commando is a tactical first-person shooter developed and published by LucasArts, and it was released in February of 2005 with separate platform launches coming the following month. The game's story takes place during the Clone Wars and places you in the role of Delta 38, also known as Boss, who is the commanding officer of your squad, otherwise known as Delta Squad. Your squad consists of Delta 40, Fixer, which is the technological expert, Delta 07, Sev, who is the marksman and the most feared fighter among your squad, and lastly Delta 62, aka Scorch, which is the demolitions expert. These men will be your allies and lifelines throughout the majority of the game, and you will be in charge of commanding them and placing them strategically and tactically throughout many battles throughout your gameplay, and also they will be the ones in charge of picking you up if you go down. Now I'm going to give you guys a chance to pause. If you don't want any spoilers, I suggest that you go ahead and play the game for yourself and then come back to the review and then, finish the video and see my thoughts on it. There will be some spoilers in the storyline because that's what I'm going to be going over next. So if you don't want to hear any, now is your time.
Welcome, little one. This is your first day. Your designation will be RP. We expect great things from you.
So at the start of the game, we're looking through the eyes of a very young Delta 38 as he's going through the processes and training of becoming a commando for the Republic Army. We get some dialogue and cutscenes of the player going through various stages of development, from creation, weapons and simulations training, to the final assignment to the commando role and your squad, which is Delta Squad. We are shown the other members of Delta Squad and you receive your first mission orders outside of training. The game really does a great job of immersing you in this process and puts a more hands-on experience of what it's like to be a foot soldier in the Star Wars universe. After your introduction to the game, you are called to your first campaign, which is going to take place during the Battle of Geonosis.
Sky until further notice, or we all get killed.
You and your squad are assigned with the task of eliminating a Geonosian separatist known as Sun Fac.
Smell. All I smell is burnt Geonosian. 3-8, my scanners show an explosion. That's affirmative. Subject terminated.
After you eliminate him, you are then sent to disable a jammer for a nearby droid production factory, and then finally are tasked with infiltrating a separatist ship to retrieve some launch codes for the Republic, which would aid them in keeping the separatists from retreating from the Battle of Geonosis. second campaign takes place on board the Prosecutor, a Republic assault ship that had gone missing and was spotted in Separatist space. Delta Squad is assigned to investigate after attempts to make contact with the crew were unsuccessful. You and your squad split up and start to navigate through the ship, only to find that Trandoshans have killed most of the crew and commandeered the ship.
Just have to slice this core for the sensor logs. That did it. Now, hold on. Got some static here.
Sev, can you read me? Come in, Sev. Blast. 40-6-2. Come in. Be on the lookout for armed hostiles. I think we've got Trandoshans. They've taken down 7. Delta Squad, come in.
The player navigates through many dark corridors and crawl spaces whilst trying to assist your squad mates who have been captured, and after regrouping, Delta Squad is assigned with fending off and destroying a Separatist destroyer-class ship that has been sent to eliminate Delta Squad and everyone else on board.
What's going on?
It's the battleship. Their droid control systems are down.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
Thanks for the assistance, Captain.
Glad to be of service, Delta Squad. No one steals a ship from the Republic while we're around.
Finally, your last campaign takes place on Kashyyyk. After receiving a cry for help from the local Wookiees who have been enslaved by Trandoshans with the aid of the Separatist forces, Delta Squad is tasked with finding and releasing Tarful, a local Wookiee chieftain who can give vital information and assistance on what the Separatists' interest with Kashyyyk is.
Now that you've located Tarful, we need to reunite him with the rest of his soldiers who are pinned down at the end of the bridge.
After rescuing Tarful and having a run-in with Grievous and his bodyguards, Delta Squad continues to push on to the Battle of Kachiro, don't know if I pronounced that right, which marked the beginning of the Battle of Kashyyyk. During this, you are tasked with finding and manning 4 AA guns to assist in destroying a Separatist destroyer. Also, unfortunately, while losing your member Sev to be captured and assumed killed in action at the end of the game.
Boss, I've got a problem here.
Sev, where are you?
Multiple hostiles.
Lost his signal, boss.
We'll find it again, damn it. Squad, regroup. We're going after Sev.
Negative 3-8. New orders came through from the Jedi generals. Clear the area. Evac now.
I don't care if they came from Master Yoda himself.
As a matter of fact, they did, soldier. Now get your squad out of there. Blast our orders. 40? He's right, boss. We gotta evac. Sir, we have to go back. Get your men under control. One commando is not worth risking an entire operation.
One commando? He's talking about my pod brother.
As your squad shows distress at the realization that they can't go back for him. This is the final chapter of the game, and overall it took me about 9.5 hours to complete everything all the way through.
Where are we?
Changing visor mode.
What the? You've got to be kidding.
From beginning to end, Star Wars Republic Commando was probably one of the greatest single-player shooter experiences I've ever had. For it being a Star Wars game, which are usually very hit or miss, it did everything right. I really felt like I was a commando, and I felt like everything was on the line the entire game. I didn't feel like I was invincible. I didn't feel like I could just mow down waves and waves of enemies like you can in other Star Wars games. Because usually you play as Jedi or people with Force-enabled powers and things like that, but here you're just a group of clones that are, slightly advantageous with their modifications to their bodies and stuff, but you really just feel that risk factor of like, this whole fight could go wrong if I don't place my men right, or this whole fight is going one way, how can I turn it around another advantageously with my tactics? And that's just the whole mindset that the game gives you. Every experience, every combat encounter that you go through, it's where can I place my men? What can I do to get the advantage here? And that's something that I've never experienced in a first-person shooter. I've played plenty of games, first-person wise, and I don't think I've ever had a game where I felt in complete control of each situation. And every time that I found I guess the best way to put it is an advantage that I could find to the battle. It never seemed like, oh, we're just done. We're going to die here, like there's nothing I can do. There was always points where I could turn things around. In terms of atmosphere and the way that the game presents itself, it feels immensely like a Star Wars game. I mean, the scenery from Geonosians, and being on the planet of Geonosis, to going to the dark corridors of the prosecutor. It's just, the game feels like a Star Wars game. It feels like you're really immersed in that world, and you see a lot of different creatures and races. You see the Geonosians, you see super battle droids and regular battle droids, you see separatist cruisers, droidicas, you see all kinds of things. You even see General Grievous for a little bit. Like, in terms of Star Wars and how the game encapsulates that world, it does a killer job, 10,000%. The gameplay loop was fantastic. I never really found myself getting bored, or, some of the fights were repetitive at times. You would go into a room, clear out the enemies, activate a terminal or something, or maybe defend this point, but it always played differently every time I played it, even if I died, because I could put my men where I needed them to go. I could take complete control of the battle at any given moment, and that's just something that really, really drives this game home. The story is fantastic. There's emotions that are brought out of the player while they're playing, and it's presented well, and mechanically it's a sound game. I didn't run into any bugs. I didn't have any issues, with the AI not doing what I wanted them to do, or my squad not listening to my commands. Like, out of all of the entirety of the 9 hours or 9.5 hours that I played, I think I maybe had 1 or 2 issues where one of the squad mates would just stand there and wouldn't go where I wanted them to, or wouldn't leave their position. But all in all, Republic Commando is a 10 out of 10 for me. It's a game that any Star Wars fan needs to play, and hopefully you guys will see this video and possibly gain an interest in playing this game. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I know it was kind of rough and awkward at times. It's just, it's a new format for me. I'm getting used to it, but I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this. Let me know down below what you thought of the review, and also let me know what other games you would want to see me cover in the future. I really appreciate your guys' time, and I'll catch you in the next video.